Justice League. The multiverse is vast, and somewhere out there in the multiverse, there's different versions of the Justice League. Some that are pretty much dang near unrecognizable versions of the Justice League, where they're not about justice at all, and they're instead just about crime. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Crime Syndicate, and that's what I want to talk about today. One of the characters in the Crime Syndicate, known as Superwoman. That's not a Kryptonian, by the way. I know that's totally a name you would expect a female Kryptonian to have. Yeah, you're used to Superman and Lois Lane being together. In this universe, well, Ultraman and Lois Lane are together, and one could say this version of Lois Lane is basically for the streets because she's technically with Ultraman. They're even sneaking to make out like she's technically with Ultraman, but she be macking with other members of the crew like Owlman. So yeah, she's quite different than what we're used to when it comes to Amazons. Oh yeah, by the way, she's an Amazon of this universe, meaning she has a lot of different superhuman attributes. I mean, I know this is just cover art, but this image says it best on how you see like the main characters we're used to, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, but below them, you see the shadow of them. Superwoman's supposed to be the match for Wonder Woman. You see how they did that there? And it's on pages like this, when you give the lore a deep dive, they pretty much talk about the Crime Syndicate and on how they're different. You can read all that if you want to, but the character I'm going over today, Superwoman, she has great strength. I mean, you got a case like this that pretty much proves she has superhuman durability, because even if Superman blasts her with his heat vision, her body just doesn't get incinerated from the hits. She has this lariat, one could say her version of a lasso, and something unique that we're not used to seeing from Amazonians of other universes, laser vision. One can say that's one major thing that makes her a bit different from the Wonder Woman-centric type characters we're used to seeing. But other Wonder Woman type stuff you see her use, like the lasso, of course, as a weapon too to fight with. One thing that seems to be unique about her lasso is that it apparently controls minds, implying it here, you know. Another one of her abilities that's not mentioned here is like little obvious things, like the fact she can just straight up fly at decent speeds and such. While it is true she's very similar to Wonder Woman, there are certain things one could say Wonder Woman has the advantage of. Like when it comes to pure fighting skills, one could say Wonder Woman might have the advantage in that pure one aspect. But in physicals, Wonder Woman stated herself, they're too evenly matched. So when it comes to strength and speed and stuff like that, whatever Wonder Woman can do, she should be in the same ballpark. So don't be surprised if you hear me bring up Wonder Woman over and over again in this video. It's for good reason. One of the only major differences is that one's evil, one's good, and she uses laser vision and Wonder Woman doesn't. Plus, the longer this video goes, you're going to see how they be fighting each other over and over in this video. So it's obvious she's in that same Wonder Woman-centric tier, at least during the post-crisis event era, at least. Believe it or not, in this universe, she still does that Daily Planet reporter type stuff, just undercover. She got a secret identity, being Superwoman. The only main difference between this universe version of Lois Lane is the obvious fact she's a huge flirt and very seductive. I mean, her outfit itself is just way more seductive than you would expect. And since she's not the actual Wonder Woman, she obviously lacks showings, but it's clear that she's meant to be within a certain power range because she is a knockoff version of Wonder Woman after all. It just makes sense. But she just has no chill. I mean, she's cheating on her husband like this. Like, that stuff is wild. But forget all that stuff. How strong is she, though? I mean, she literally has less than 50 appearances, so don't expect this video to be 20 minutes or nothing. When it comes to mere humans, she can easily toss them to the side with ease. Tossing humans around here. When it comes to cyborgs or metal in general, she can rip that type of stuff off and hit beings with it as a weapon. It's pretty obvious she can lift things many times her body size. She's superhumanly strong, obviously. She can use the strength in combat with her speed mixed with it, one could say, to punch hard, blah, blah, blah. You got moments like this that prove she can lift at least a couple tons. She's helping rebuild all this mess with her super strength easily. Light work. In this particular scan, there's an implication she threw this boulder. It just got diverted, but it's implied she threw this big thing right here, which probably was at least a couple tons. Aircraft type vehicle things or steel, she can definitely lift up with ease. She can obviously hit hard, but you ever wondered how hard? Small debris like this, you can see that she can break it apart with hits. Some things in the universe exist in ours, like the Washington Monument. Things like this have official weights and sizes in real life. I want you guys to keep in mind that stuff like this seems to still be nowhere near her max, because like things like the Washington Monument that exist in real life, there's implications she could just casually fly through and just cause crazy destruction to such big structures. Something that weighs 80,000 tons as a bare minimum, she can just fly through such structures like this and make them fall over. Yeah, buildings wouldn't stand a chance against her punches, right? As a bare minimum. When it comes to how much weight she can lift, there's no reason to not believe she can lift this kind of weight too. Lifting over 80,000 tons should be a joke if she's anywhere in the ballpark with Wonder Woman, when Wonder Woman stated herself that these two were evenly matched. I mean, we literally seen these two lock arms to pretty much prove it. I mean, she is an alternate reality version of an Amazon or a Wonder Woman. Like, it's clear evidence that she's in that muscle range with Wonder Woman when it comes to strength, and we know Wonder Woman, during this era, might I add, during the post-crisis era, the same era that Superwoman be battling, she's strong enough to move at least 1/3 of the moon. help other powerhouses and helping each other do it, that means Superwoman by default should, at least, being disrespectful, at least be able to move at least 1/3 the weight of the moon at least. But then it gets worse when you compare the moon's size to the Earth. We know Earth is way bigger than the moon, and we've seen, you've guessed it, Wonder Woman along with powerhouses like Martian Manhunter and Superman, we've seen them working together to pull the Earth 1/3 the weight of the Earth. So at first we thought she could only move 1/3 the weight of the moon, but since we know Wonder Woman at a bare minimum can move 1/3 the weight of the Earth, this pretty much proved that Superwoman by herself could move the moon with her strength, and can at least move 1/3 the weight of the Earth as a bare minimum. And then there's implications that Wonder Woman can lift more weight than this, because we actually know Wonder Woman has pulled Martian Manhunter out of a black hole before, so yeah. And when people were having conversations about who are the few beings that can move the planet by hand, Wonder Woman is one of those beings in this conversation. So yeah, they're just casually talking about who are the beings that can move the planet out of the way. Yeah, she's one of them. You can't be a featherweight when you're helping restrain Superman quite a bit here. So yeah, she isn't a featherweight when it comes to her raw power. And we know Superman can lift planets and such, so she's somewhere in that ballpark. Even though I would give Superman the advantage, obviously. But if I had to do like a random guesstimation, don't take my word as Bible, but this is just some random guesstimation. If Superman's 100 out of 100, I would say she's like, what, I don't know, 90 out of 100. You see what I mean? If he can lift 100% the weight of a planet, she can lift 90% the weight. If he can lift 90% the weight of a sun, then she can lift 70% the weight of the sun. You see how that goes? Like, she can still do a dang near close enough. All this stuff just makes Superwoman look impressive. With all that being in mind, you know she can punch ridiculously hard. I mean, we know she can do this with her muscles, but you know she can punch hard. Even in comparison against Superman's here, there's implications her punches can affect them at least. Because you guys know, basically, Superman and Ultraman are basically dang near close to equal, like alternate reality versions of each other. You get the idea when it comes to physical strength and such. Minor differences, like different things that power them up, but you get the idea. The reason why I'm bringing all this up, because Superwoman, she's strong enough. It's proven here her punches can draw blood from Ultraman tears or Superman's ears with just hands. With all this strength, it's obvious that size means nothing. She can swing around beings even if they're way bigger than her. She hits beings with taps and just make them fly. This scan pretty much shows the mirror of her. That's Donna Troy. One can say is another Wonder Woman-centric type character to pretty much prove, yes, she is Wonder Woman-centric. When it comes to how hard she can punch or just her strength in general, she's always fighting Wonder Woman-centric type beings. They even go as far as saying Amazon. It's just clear evidence. Yep, plenty of scans of stuff like this, showing her durability to withstand hits from Donna Troy, reacting and punching her back. Too much evidence of it, even with a speedster on her back. Panels over and over of Superwoman and Donna Troy literally slugfesting. It's like a dang war between these two. You gotta love them consecutively slugfesting. Please watch my Wonder Woman video on top of this to really get an understanding on what Superwoman is really competing with, consecutively battling Wonder Woman or Wonder Woman-centric characters like Wonder Girl or Donna Troy. In fact, when it comes to how durable she is and how hard she can punch, her or Wonder Woman both, they both can withstand or even punch harder than planets falling on them, basically. Because Wonder Woman had to get leverage or get momentum that hit with extra force against her to add more velocity to her attacks because they are too evenly matched. I mean, we know Superman can destroy planets. I mean, it's literally stated that Superman can punch. This being right here, for example, with the force needed to destroy small planets, this same being that can withstand these type of hits, Wonder Woman can knock the wind out of these type of beings with their punches, so can Superwoman. It would be weird if Superwoman couldn't do this because planet shattering or planet trembling is like literally a joke for DC powerhouses. When it comes to raw power and just punching power and everything, they seem to be evenly matched. But when it comes to raw skills, that's where one could say Wonder Woman might have the advantage, and that's why she's able to get the edge over Superwoman. In this particular situation, Wonder Woman did get the advantage, but this fight was not easy, and there was plenty of times Superwoman had the upper hand. So yeah, losing to somebody on your tier doesn't necessarily debunk you being strong, you know, because she's still strong by every stretch of the imagination. Yeah, and her punches can do this to the main Man of Steel. Yeah, we don't need to go over what he can endure with his durability and such. You get the idea of her power level. You know, Superman can withstand supernovas 50 times the normal size of a normal supernova. That's the kind of stuff these characters can endure. Yet her punches can damage such beings. You get the idea. I'm not saying she's a match for amped versions of the characters, but in this particular situation, Wonder Woman, Superman, and everybody was amped up. She at least staggered them right here, for example, to show her power level at least. But of course, this didn't go too well. Of course, like they're not a match for them like this, but yeah, they're powerhouses. They're a match for them in their normal states, but not like this. Logically, her punches should not only be able to tremble the Earth, but destroy it. The same goes for moons, even Earth, or even planets way larger than Earth. She should technically be able to tremble or destroy. You know, this is standard DC powerhouse stuff. Her punches technically have to be stronger or feel worse than what a black hole would feel like. The limits of her is not fully explored, but she's Wonder Woman tier. You get it? But everybody, there's no need to drag this length out of this video even longer. These leaguers that these crime syndicate beings have to compete against literally have to hold the Earth itself together and such. Like, this is the kind of normal stuff DC characters do, and the crime syndicate characters have to compete against these such leaguers consistently. But I want to hear your thoughts. Her punches feel way worse than black holes, limits unknown, but she's Wonder Woman centric. But before I get going, don't you love the fact that she sometimes dresses up as Wonder Woman? But guys, how do you think she compares to Wonder Woman in this post-crisis era? They keep on retconning her. The newest version of her is like Donna Troy, you know. But before I get going, thanks for the donations, everybody. It helps out a lot. Respect this version of Superwoman in the post-crisis-esque era, before the rebirth era. Respect her. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.